this video I'm going to show you how I will be making my own compost. I'll be doing it for the first time. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and only this year have I started to look at it more seriously. But it's a great way of providing nutrients back into your ground through your own compost by using materials that are readily available, actually free. So hopefully you'll enjoy the video. If you do like the video, then give it the thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to the channel, then press the subscribe button, and then you'll be able to see future videos. Hope you enjoy the video, and let's get on with making some compost. So in today's video I'm going to look at how I plan to make my own compost. And I say plan to make my own compost because this is new to me. Behind me you can see some compost bins that were built over the summer just out of pallets, and I haven't really done a great deal with them yet. But now that we've come to this time of year, particularly autumn, if you're listening to this in America it'll be fall, it allows us to have lots of leaves, and there's lots of materials that you can collect specifically at this time of year to add to your compost bin. So that's what I'm going to do today, just show you what I'm going to put in my compost bin. And there's something about composting that almost it's a way of continually to recycle the waste that you get off an allotment to make it into compost that you can use on your allotment. And there's so many things you can put into compost. There has to be a combination of greens and browns, and your greens will be things like your grass and other things that provide nitrogen, and the carbon is things like your brown material, so that'll be your leaves and other types of materials like that. So it has to be a mix of the two, and depending on which video you watch, it will tell you that you have to do a certain percentage of this, like a ratio of 1 to 3, i.e. 1 nitrogen, 3 carbon, so that's 1 greens or 3 browns. But the reality is that I've seen lots of people who are making their own compost, and they do a whole range of different methods, and for some reason they all seem to work. Even behind me you'll see there's a small compost pile that I've been just adding to for about a month and a half without doing very little to it, and it's already starting to decompose. So it's fairly straightforward in terms of the process, and it is a really good way of providing natural materials back into your allotment. So the compost it will produce will provide a high level of nutrients that you can put back into your ground. So all of that stuff now that appears to be dying off, your vegetables and other things that are dying off, and all these leaves, and then obviously grass cuttings, all of them can be recycled. You can also have the cast-offs from your kitchen in terms of your vegetable waste. So most things can go into compost. There are certain things that can't go in. Things like conifers are not good for compost because they will give off the sort of pine resin, and that's not great for the compost. But there are the vast majority of things you can compost. I'll show you as I go along what I'm adding, just to show you how you start a compost bin and create your own compost for the first time. I suppose you could say that composting is nature's way of naturally recycling. It's taking things like you can see here, leaves and other things that have now died off, and actually putting them back into something that you can put back into the ground, i.e. creating the nutrients through the decomposition of the composting process, and use these things for recycling into compost to be reused all over again. So here are the compost bins that we made over the summer. There's two bags. I've opened the door of the first one just to show you the small pile of compost that I've already started to make. I'm going to add to that now, so to the pile to make it larger, and then start cover it over and let it start to decompose over the next few months. With 2 bays like this, if you do use 2 bays, which is why I've done it, once this pile gets to a position where I need to turn it over, because good compost is made more readily when you introduce air on a fairly regular basis, and then what I'll do is I'll turn over the pile from this one bay and move it over to the bay on the right, and then I'll be able to start a new compost pile in the empty one. So looking around the allotment, you'll see at the moment, with this being autumn in the UK or fall in America, there's lots of leaves falling on the ground already, lots of leaves on the trees ready to fall off. And there's also lots of vegetables that now have come to the end of the growing season. They're starting to die off, and these are the types of things I'll dig up and add to my compost bin. So here are some of the things I've collected just after about 5-10 minutes just going around the allotment, and there's a lot of leaves here which as you can see they're nice and starting to brown nicely, and they're quite small. A lot of people will tell you that you want to try and make the materials in your compost bin as small as possible because they'll decompose quickly. That depends on how fast you really want the compost. At this time of year, I don't think there's any major urgency in needing to break them down too much, because I'm not going to need the compost for a number of months. If I was doing this maybe in the summer, I might look at breaking the materials down you know, a little more to help the decomposition process. Also, I did a bit of weeding in my garden before I came to the allotment today. Took out a few old plants, and they're good for composting as well. Even things like you know, kitchen waste, in terms of your vegetables and your fruit cut-offs, eggshells, even paper is something that you can use for composting, but try and sort of scrunch the paper up rather than make it flat. Also maybe very thin bits of cardboard can be used. So there's lots that can go into your compost. Then when you've collected your materials, all you have to do is put it onto your compost pile. So I'll take the materials that I've got from the garden, and then take the leaves and just put them evenly across the top of the pile. This also contains a bit of grass cuttings which are mixed in. Any large twigs that you've raked up, you don't really want to put them in unless you really sort of chop them down into small bits, because they'll take longer to decompose. So I'm going to leave them out for now and continue with the whole pile until you've got it all on top. Then what I'll do is I'll turn it over, check the amount of moisture, because you do need a fair good amount of water in, not so it's saturated, just so that the compost is wet, otherwise that will slow down the composition process. And then I'll just turn it over with the fork and then cover it over, and then I'll leave it. I'll probably check it maybe once over the winter, check the temperature of it, and just to see if it is at the right level of decomposition. And then hopefully I should be able to use that when it comes to April and May. So here you can see a small compost pile that I put together about a month and a half ago. In there are grass cuttings, leaves and waste from generally around the allotment. I haven't really done much to it, I've just left it. It was a little bit dry after a couple of weeks, so I had a little bit of water. But even in this instance, if I turn it, you can see it's already starting to decompose. So what that's telling us is that as long as you just pay a little bit of attention to your compost pile, it doesn't necessarily need an awful lot of work. And some of the videos you might see on YouTube and other places will tell you that it needs you know, to do this and to do that to it. I suppose it depends on how fast you want your compost. But if you look at this compost here, already it's starting to decompose, and that's after about a month and a half. So today I'm going to turn this over, add a bit of air into it, add some other things into it to increase the pile and let it decompose over the winter, because I'm not really going to need the compost now until probably March, April time. So I might add to this pile and let it decompose as a larger pile. So as you can see, making compost doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't matter whether you've got an allotment or even a small garden. You can make as much or as little compost as you want. All you need is a little bit of a space, and then just use the materials that are readily available to you from your kitchen and from your garden or your allotment. Very, very simple. I'll do another video maybe April or May, just to let you know how the compost got on, to show you how it's decomposed and how I'm hopefully going to be using it by then. But remember, if you like the video, then give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to get the notification of future videos.